"No place on Earth will give you safety, mortal, when Fin Fang Foom strikes," was the threat declared by the Serpentine Makluan himself. This alien dragon was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and made his first appearance in Strange Tales number 89, published in 1961. His character stood alongside several other unique monsters conceptualized by Kirby in the pre-superhero era of Marvel. He was first awakened in the 8th century and turned into an ancient Chinese mythological legend. Over the years, Fin Fang Foom fought the Hulk, Iron Man, and even the legendary agents of Wakanda. In this marvelous video, let us dive headfirst into the extraterritorial dragon's origin story. What planet does he come from? How many times was he unwittingly awoken throughout history? Let's find out. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. The extraterrestrial origin of Fin Fang Foom. Fin Fang Foom, the dragon's name in ancient Chinese, translates to "he whose limbs shatter mountains and whose back scrapes the sun." He isn't of this earth. Fin Fang Foom is of the alien reptoid species named Makluans, from the planet Kakaranthera. Their planet was a prosperous one, built on science and the arts without hunger and war. The Makluans were considered to be peaceful creatures with noble intentions who still sought to conquer other worlds, for the tranquil life of Kakaranthera was a dull existence. They turned their eyes to the most violent planet in our galaxy, Earth. Using their powers of shape-shifting, the ancient dragons donned human disguises to infiltrate our planet. Most of the disguised Makluans landed in China. They waited for the right moment to start their conquest, while their navigator, Foom, allowed himself to be entombed as a backup. He entered a state of induced hibernation by consuming a cocktail of native herbs. He was accidentally awakened in the 8th century, but put back to sleep by the same mixture of herbs. Fin Fang Foom became a whispered, cursed name passed through cautionary legends. An ancient Chinese tribe was given the responsibility of guarding the crypt of the dragon in the area, which was named Valley of the Sleeping Dragon. Did you know that centuries ago, Thor made a wild claim that the door of the Hall of Bones in Nidavellir was constructed out of Fin Fang Foom's skeleton? However, the dragon had escaped being slain by the god of thunder and escaped to Antarctica instead, where he lay frozen near the South Pole. In the 18th century, Foom launched an attack on the Tianjin prefecture, but his assault was disrupted by Zhang Su, aided by his 5-weapons society. Then, all the way in the year 1961, the issue Strange Tales number 89 showed Fin Fang Foom's first comic book appearance. The scene was set in China under its strict communist regime. A teenager named Chan Lu Chao, who lives on Formosa Island, wanted to prove his loyalty to his homeland. He decided to stop a communist invasion of the mainland in ways he knew best, studying historical records and attempting to awake one of these ancient legends. Chan traversed the dangerous landscape and reached Foom's crypt under the subterranean chambers of the Great Wall of China. He fed the slumbering dragon the herbs of legend, and surely enough, Fin Fang Foom had woken up yet again. Chan pretended to be the sole mortal who had held the power to put Foom to sleep again, which he threatened to do. The enraged dragon dug out of his tunnel with the power of 1,000 steam shovels and, in his pursuit of Chan, completely annihilated the invading communist forces. After the communist barracks, squads, and vessels had been destroyed, Chan tricked Foom into eating the mixture of herbs that put him back in his slumber. Fin Fang Foom and the Hulk's earth-shattering battle. Hulk was on the move trying to escape the military, which caused him to trudge through the unforgiving snow of Antarctica. The unrelenting blizzard weakened the brute, who passed out and turned back into his human form. An unconscious Bruce Banner was found by the scientists of Polar Station 1. A few members of the team were trying to cut through the ice when they noticed Fin Fang Foom hibernating underneath the surface, presumably since the time he escaped Thor's killing blow. Foom infiltrated the Polar Station by donning the skin of the member who disturbed his sleep. Here, Foom and Hulk confronted one another, and it inevitably came to blows. Initially, Foom was impressed with Hulk's strength and suggested that the two of them should be allies. The ancient dragon appealed to the Green Goliath's loneliness, claiming that they shared the nature of being kindred spirits who were feared and condemned by humankind. Hulk said that the Earth ain't big enough for both of them and flung Fin Fang Foom to the moon. When asked why Hulk didn't kill Foom instead of sending him to the moon, Hulk claimed that it wasn't his job to slay the dragon. Instead, his job was to find a way to be left alone. Are we really surprised that out of all the Marvel characters, Hulk proved to be the best suited match for the tyrannical space dragon? the epic showdown between Iron Man and Fin Fang Foom. Fin Fang Foom came to face with Iron Man during the Dragon Seed Saga. Let's follow the story explored in the comic. Iron Man number 274 and 275. The notorious villain named the Mandarin hovered over and injured James Rhodes to end his life. The air is filled with the thunderous roaring of dragons as Fin Fang Foom is joined by his dragon brethren. Chen Su, sitting meditating in the Mandarin's palace, transformed into a great drake himself and commanded his faithful crew to join him. All 10 dormant dragons had awakened alongside their navigator, Fin Fang Foom. As the dragons swirled about, the Mandarin revealed the origins of his powers to Rhodes. Years ago, the Mandarin stumbled upon the Makluan spaceship that crashed and landed on Earth aeons ago. The ship's control elements were made up of the 10 rings of power, which granted the Mandarin the abilities he possessed, but he could never wield the full potential of the cosmic rings. Chen Su and the 10 other Dragon Lords shrunk into their human form and revealed much more of their existence. Initially, 16 members had left Kakaranthera, but 6 of them were killed by human warriors. The remaining lords stood in front of the Mandarin and demanded he return their rings of power, as the rule of the dragon would soon take over humankind. The Mandarin felt his teacher's betrayal, and he was unwilling to give up the rings that sourced his powers. The fury and deception he felt in the core of his being was channeled into an attack more violent and swift than the Dragon Lords could ever imagine. He had finally unlocked the full potential of the 10 rings. As the dragons and the Mandarin stood in a moment of stalemate, Iron Man descended from the skies. Immediately, Iron Man began laying waste among the dragons, blasting them with his deadly repulsor beams. In his suit, he maneuvered the skies, avoiding the slashing claws of the furious dragons. From the mountainside, Chen Su and Fin Fang Foom watched as the other dragons unleashed their breaths of fire on Tony till the molten slag clogged the jets of his boots. In a cunning move, Tony shot his line of polyfiber around a dragon's ankle and was lifted out of the slag. He then used the polyfiber line as a bridle to mount a dragon as though it were a horse. When Rhodey tried to help his pal, Fin Fang Foom caught him and flung him across a great distance. Rhodey landed right at the feet of the Mandarin, who sat in deep contemplation. The Mandarin reminisced about the time when he had approached Chen Su, who went on to help him study the 10 rings of power. He recalled how a living, breathing legend as Fin Fang Foom had become the deadliest weapon in his arsenal. It was all a ruse for the Dragon Lords to bid their time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The Mandarin swooped into battle and began helping one of his oldest foes, Iron Man, to fight the beasts. Tony realized that the Mandarin being mortal is what restricted the ring's power. He interlocked the hands of his metal suit with the Mandarin's and unleashed a colossal boom felt in every corner of the world. All that was heard in the Valley of the Sleeping Dragon was a cry for help, a cry of anguish. It was done then. The dragons had vanished, and Tony Stark stumbled out of the battleground shaken but uninjured. It was revealed that an unconscious Mandarin was tended to by an elderly woman who lamented for the stumps that were in place of his hands. Thus, the Dragon Seed Saga had come to an end. The Great Green Serpent lives on. Fans were made to believe that Fin Fang Foom's battle with Tony Stark was the end of him, which wasn't the case. Foom's body was destroyed in the nuclear blast, but his spirit continued living encased in a small statue of a dragon, which ended up in an antique shop of trinkets. A teenager named Billy Yuan stole this statue when he heard the great dragon's voice coaxing him to free his shell from the confines of the old shop. Fin Fang Foom then used poor Billy's body as a powerful conduit and performed a ritual to summon countless reptilian beasts from the sewers of New York. These lizards then transfused into Billy's body, creating an abomination made out of Foom's will. The Avenger Iron Man saved the city yet again and ruthlessly defeated the Billy-Foom hybrid creature. Leftover remnants of Foom's spirit still existed in the beast's carcass, which was taken in Banetronics, as authorized by Sunset Bane. Fin Fang Foom faced his inner demons. Fin Fang Foom showed face once more, but this time his mind was quickly seized by the villain named Controller. The Controller utilized devices known as slave discs, which were used to help absorb his psychic energy and establish a direct telepathic link between the Controller and Foom. This mind-controlled Drake was unleashed on New York City as bait for Iron Man. Tony proceeded to deploy his Fin Fang Foombuster armor, which was explicitly created as a countermeasure for the dragon's assault. Then, using his nano armor, Tony slipped into Foom's side and located the slave disc in his body. He destroyed the device that rendered Foom to the Controller's mercy. With his mind freed, Foom retreated since his intentions weren't violent this time around. It was time for Fin Fang Foom's redemption arc. He sought to get rid of all his inner demons and cleansed his soul. However, the dark emotions that he expelled morphed into Makluan monsters as they launched themselves at Foom for being a traitor to his own race. Foom escaped to Avengers Mountain with his demons coming to life in pursuit pursuit. The dragons stumbled upon the ancients of Wakanda. The gang of warriors led by Black Panther fought off the Makluan demons while Foom hid. When the mutant Broo found Foom hiding, he encouraged the scared dragon to face his past through the extension of his dark side. The ancient space dragon gathered what courage he had left and faced his demons. Perhaps his will and desire for a nobler life weren't strong enough as his dark emotions began merging into him once more. This led the dragon to revert to his villainous ways, and he started attacking his saviors. Fin Fang Foom's morally gray conscience hadn't been completely killed off though, since Broo requested Foom to let them be, and the two agreed to a truce.
Want your dragons, Mandarin? Give them to me.
Fin Fang Foom Beyond the Comic. Apart from the beautifully illustrated comics Foom has appeared in so far, let's take a look at his cameos in film and TV. He appeared in the 1994 animated TV show titled Iron Man, in which Foom seemed to be working under the Mandarin, but it proved to be a ruse, and he actually strived to revive his fellow dragons. Foom also appeared in several episodes of the 2009 Superhero Squad show. His most prominent appearance was in the 2009 animated show Iron Man Armored Adventures. Fin Fang Foom is depicted as a terrifying monolith serpent who guarded the Makluan rings of power with his life. The story was followed in a two-part episode, and Foom's design resembled a dragon similar to the ones depicted in ancient Chinese art forms. Next, we see him in Hulk in the Agents of Smash, in the episode titled Mission Impossible Man, in which Foom is under the control of Sauron, who stole the Impossible Man's powers. In the 2015 animated series Guardians of the Galaxy, the episode 1 in a Million You showed Fin Fang Foom being added to the collector's collection of exotic alien specimens, but he was saved by Rocket Raccoon. In the Marvel animated feature film titled The Invincible Iron Man, Foom shows up as the Mandarin's protector, but Tony Stark manages to slay the dragon. In the 2013 movie Iron Man 3, the villain Aldrich Killian was seen sporting a Fin Fang Foom tattoo on his chest. Exploring the supernatural powers of Fin Fang Foom. Fin Fang Foom is a member of the advanced alien species of the Makluans. Therefore, he is blessed with Makluan physiology and attributes such as super dragon strength, stamina, durability, longevity, and regenerative healing. Along with this, he is capable of shapeshifting and spiritual possession. We saw how these powers allowed him to infiltrate Earth all those centuries ago and continue living despite his body being killed off. Another interesting power he holds is something known as transmogrification, which means he can physically transform or morph any object of being that he rests his eye on. For instance, he can easily turn people into animals or bring inanimate objects to life with merely one glance. Two contradictory powers that are characteristic of Fin Fang Foom are energy assimilation and aspect expulsion. Energy assimilation means that he could feed on raw energy from explosives like gamma nukes and disgorge them by launching missiles from his mouth as though they were his breath of fire. Aspect expulsion relates to his ability to physically sever all his negative emotions from his soul. Apart from breathing fire, Fin Fang Foom can also shoot out a highly corrosive acid mist from his mouth, which disintegrates everything it touches. Another fun fact about Makluans in general, they reproduce asexually. Fin Fang Foom alone is capable of producing thousands of offspring all by himself, a dangerous attribute if used for the purposes of world domination. Marvelous verdict. Here we come to the end of Fin Fang Foom's origin story. The dragon is what legends are made of, tying in several story arcs as the Makluans patiently bided their time on Earth while they gathered enough strength to launch their attack on humanity. We can't help but ask, what prompted Foom to reconsider his blood-tainted past, to such an extent that he physically expelled his demons? Perhaps he realized the fact that humanity is a collective being, civilization, an unstoppable force of nature in itself. Even great dragons of old need to be more competent to wipe us out wholly. There's solace in that fact. We hope he found some within himself. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.